And now from Television City, it's I Was 8, with the stars Joyce Randolph, Robert Young, and Larry Fedoruk as the Beaver.
He killed me, bitch, and I shot my twin brother. And now I'm out for revenge. No fair, you didn't say that to my brother.
I mean, obviously I was influenced by sitcoms growing up, so I think, I Was 8 is kind of like that, where there's laughs and situations and some drama, but even the drama is played for laughs, and then at the end there's a resolution, and maybe you learn something. And maybe the funny part is that I learned something, but I learned the wrong thing, So I didn't really set out to do it that way, but, after a few episodes, it's kind of taking that tone, I think, which is something I didn't realize until I listened to a few of the episodes. When I was 8. See, that's the thing. It's not when I was 8, it's I was 8. The title is kind of like a response to you telling the story of something stupid you did when you were a kid and like, wow, that was really stupid. And you go, well, what do you expect? I was 8. That was always kind of the response. Well, I was 8, so I didn't really know any better, or whatever. So that's where the title came from. In like I say, timelines bend. It's not one magical year, but it's pretty close. And like I say at the beginning, the names change and, timelines bend, but these things happened to me. These things all happened. I was 8. This is the making of I Was 8, a little behind the scenes look at how one of these episodes comes together. I record all of these at home in my little studio in my office that I have to set up each time because I need my desk space. So I set up my electronics mixer over here and microphone, testing, and we're good to go. Oh, I put up some sound baffles and they work pretty well, except that occasionally a ambulance goes by or somebody knocks on my door, so I take those parts out, obviously. So we start at the beginning with this. So the music is, I belong to a music service. It's called Epidemic Sound. I'm not compensated for mentioning them. I will just say there's lots of music services out there for podcasters and YouTubers. And I picked this one, and it's terrific so far. And I pay a monthly fee, and all the music is licensed and approved, and musicians and writers get paid. For the opening music, I was looking for something that I didn't want to have music from the period of which I was speaking, but I wanted something that would evoke memories and nostalgia, and for me, that's cello. I'm just a sucker for a cello or piano, and this song I found had both, and I just thought it was great. The way it kind of went back, like it almost like it transitioned movie scenes, or it was the opening credits of a movie, and I kind of thought that's what I want, so I did it that way. By the way, the song is called The Streets of Belgrade, which I almost didn't use it because of that. I was like, what do the streets of Belgrade have in common with my little town in Saskatchewan years ago? And then I thought everything, humanity, experience, memories, childhood, and I just, I thought nobody's ever going to know the title, except now I said it. So it's The Streets of Belgrade.
3, 2, 1. Chapter 1, Hooch. Chapter 2, The Tent. Chapter 3, No Taste for Skating. Chapter 4, A Kid in a Candy Store.
That's
Chapter 5,
Becky Coles, friend of mine. She voices the chapter titles and the closing segment. She's a news talk producer, and she produces a talk show. She also writes and voices some of her own news talk content. I've always liked her voice. I just thought something was needed, other than me. So
this one you want smilier?
A little smilier and
quicker.
Boy, that was a good story. Oh, I was 8, that kind of
Like the Ed McMahon?
not quite.
No, obviously, but that would be funny.
Yeah. So I produce these, and a new one pop every Thursday, and I try and stay 2 or 3 weeks ahead, but I've written over 50 episodes of I Was 8. So I have all the scripts, just a matter of producing them. So we're going to divide them into 4 seasons, just because, as a way of presenting them. There'll be no season-ending cliffhangers or anything like that. And unlike those HBO shows or whatever, you're not going to have to wait 10 months between seasons. You know, you can, season 1 will run into season 2, into season 3, into season 4. Just a good story every week, I hope. This actually started out as a writing project. I was going to just write a story once a week and try and do that for a year, and the stories were going to be about my childhood, and I was like, do I have enough stories? And I started listing them, and I'm like, yeah, I guess I do. And just kind of have fun with them, and then at the end of a year, actually go back and rewrite them and see if this was anything. And a few weeks into the project, I would be reading the story out loud for kind of like spell and grammar check. And as I was reading it out loud, in my office at home, I was just like, this sounds like something to me. This sounds like it could be a podcast. And the idea of, the podcast, you know, I thought, is this just going to be an audio book? Or, because I didn't want it to be a big production radio play, you know, so somewhere in between. There's some production so that it's more than an audiobook, but not too much so that it's a play and I'm doing voices and sound effects. Well, sound effects, I have some, but I mean, you can drive yourself crazy with sound effects, you know, if you want. If it's like in the story, I'm telling you that I'm walking across snow. I don't think you need to hear the sound of crunchy footsteps. I like some sound effects, but you can drive yourself crazy, you know. It's like, I need a door opening. No. 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 Yeah. Maybe. And then suddenly, you know, 3 hours have passed. You're working on a 2-second sound effect. After a couple episodes, my friend Maureen wrote me and said she heard the nostalgia, but like from the Greek origins of the word nostalgia, algos, meaning pain. And she said she heard some of that. And I was like, yeah, you know, that's true. It is that. There's some drama and some pain, but again, some laughs. And the idea is that years later, I'm still here. We're all here, and we're remembering it, and we're laughing about it. So even if there's a little pain from the nostalgia, I think there's a comfort that comes later. So far in season 1 already, I bit the end of my tongue off skating. That happened. I saved my dad from the cops while he was making moonshine. I found and rescued a lost kid in our little town, and a lot more. Season 2, let me see. We're going to talk about The Green Jacket, me trying to read The Agony and the Ecstasy, and also being locked in a room with a dead body. And then at the end of each episode, you know, of course, Becky does her thing. First of all, my egomaniac thing.
I Was 8 is a weekly series written, produced, and voiced by Larry Fedoruk. Am I saying your name right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I hear people say it the wrong way a lot.
You're listening to Larky Federer.
So then I start to worry maybe I'm saying it the wrong way and they're getting it right.
And then the part where you can, find me every week.
This podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Larry Fedoruk, that's Fedoruk, can be reached at larryfedoruk37@gmail.com.
Give me at the end, give me a gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
And that's a little bit of the making of I Was 8. I hope I got to all of your questions and concerns that you've sent me. I will see you on the next episode. I'm Larry Fedoruk.
It's Larry's name. And he goes, "Who's Larry?" I'm like, "Shut up. We're done talking now."